How important is faith to you?
I would say...
Is faith important in our relationship?
No.
No, faith
is definitely not a thing in our relationship at all.
It is important. And for us, it's quite a big topic because we had 8 years in our relationship where we did not have children because we were still discussing how we wanted to have a family, how we were going to, how faith was going to dictate
or influence
the children as well. So it is important, and I think we found common ground where we decided that we are going to keep our faith. I'm Hindu. I was born Hindu, so I carry on with my rituals, my prayers. And you were born Christian, and you carry on. And we meet in the middle when there's a festivity. We get involved. We kind of embrace each other's faith, but we haven't imposed each other's faith on each other.
It's not important to me or Natasha.
Yeah.
One of the things of when we got married, we chose not to get married in a church, in a religious venue, purely because we didn't want to come across as two-faced, as hypocritical, or whatever. Yeah,
we don't go to church.
Yeah, so we don't go to church. So I didn't think it was right that we
appropriate for us to go and get married in a church when we don't go there on a regular basis.
So we chose not to do that, and we chose a non-religious venue to actually exchange our vows.
That obviously we've had this conversation on our YouTube and whatever, but you being a Muslim and me being Christian was, I think, something that people always questioned, and how are you going to cope, and thank God we've done really well. I think it comes down to respect, and we both know that we serve one God, but obviously we have different ways of kind of navigating that. And respectfully, like, obviously you don't pray, or like we pray together, but you don't obviously follow the Christian prayer, but you'll still come to church, and I'll still come to the mosque. I'll wear my hijab out of respect, and we've taught our children to respect both religions, and I think that has allowed people to see that you can marry different faiths. Obviously, I think the only way I feel like it wouldn't work for some people would be if they were both like real fanatics, like some people just overdo it, and I think that's when it wouldn't work. But I think for us, the fact that we were able to pray together and teach our children the importance of prayer and the importance of God, that really makes a big difference.
Faith is important in our relationship, and it really developed when our son was being christened, and after that we found ourselves being members of our own church and develop our involvement in the church and our faith as well. Play an active part in our church as well.
Definitely. I just echo what Peter has said. I think as a teenager, you do believe that I did believe that I was in control of my life and everything I did. It was my destiny, etc., etc. And so the faith or Christianity wasn't at the forefront of my mind. If I passed my driving test, it's because I did it. If I did the exams, it's because I did it. Everything was in but it's only when, and again, just repeating what you said, when our first child together came along, and then you see the world differently. You realise that, oh my gosh, that blade of grass or the mighty oak tree, whatever it may be, this didn't just happen. And then you realise that, God is good, God is there.
I would also say, as Christian people, there is a certain peace within our lives, hence why we don't find ourselves arguing or whatever. So we are, yes. So faith is important in our relationship.
And like faith is important to me. Obviously, I was brought up a Muslim, and before for a few years I dabbled in different religion. Studying different religion, and I think that allowed me to understand before I was, would you marry a Christian? I'd be like, nah, this and that, because of the ideas I grew up with. But understanding my faith and understanding your faith a bit more just made things a lot simpler for me to be able to be like, nah, do you know what? it's not even a problem. Do you know what I mean? As we serve one God, but you might have some other people that be like, nah, this and
fanatics,
that.
yeah.
Nah, I wouldn't say fanatics, but but I think it's helped the both of us a lot. Like, another thing you said was respect.
Yeah.
We just respect each other, which is important. Yeah. I think we've done well with that one as well.
We've done well.
Bang.
We are growing individuals. Spirituality is very important to us, and we're constantly on a learning journey with that. But it's a very important part of African love, we would call it as well, is understanding your African spirituality.
Yes,
And
I agree.
inviting our ancestors to bless our relationship as well is very important to us.
Yes. Do I have anything else to add to that? I disagree. Yeah, it's true. It's very important to us.
I think that faith is really important in our relationship, just because it makes me feel like there's something bigger than us. It's like we're called to be together. We're meant to be, and we have a goal at the end. And so I think it helps us, like when times are hard, we're like, but this is what we were made to do. We were made for each other. Like, God is the one that's keeping us together. And so we fight a bit harder, I think. What do you think?
I think faith is like just good foundation. You have faith, you're building your house on bricks. You have no faith, it's matchsticks. Do you know what I'm saying? It's that kind of thing. So I feel like, oh man, I've seen bare claps. But no, for real though. I think
true.
I've said it to my friends before, you know, and not even to go on about it, but I think, you know, you build a relationship off of sex, it's matchsticks. You build a relationship off of it's matchsticks. You need friendship and you need faith. These are two things. We're not talking about a God. We're not talking about a specific anything. It's faith. The word in itself. Have faith and good friendship and you'll be blessed. Whenever it gets peak, Spudman. Done.
Well, yes and no. Okay, so we don't belong to any particular church. Comrade is a Baptist. I'm Church of England. We believe in God, but we live by a code that we are kind to people and that we are kind to one another. And if we can help people, we do it. So that's our code. It's not, we are more spiritual than we are religious.
I'm not an advocate of religion, and I'll explain that. So for me, religion is man-made. And I have little faith in man. Spirituality is your connection with your higher power, and I'm all for that.
Yeah.
The rituals that man has come up with for religion don't sit well with me, because I think that they were made with an ulterior motive. Now, don't get me wrong, I think the Bible, the Quran, and all of those books have great stories, and they have a lot of moral codes that people should follow. I'm all for that. It's just not for me.
And we do follow a moral code. The moral code is that we shouldn't do any wrong to anybody else. And we do try wherever we can to communicate with people and make sure that they're okay. I mean, I am a true believer in communicating with everyone that I know and making sure that they're okay. And it's part of being kind. And I think people generally aren't kind. I know some very religious people who are not kind.
One of the things that I live by, and I tell people this, everything you need to know to get through life as a good person, you learn in kindergarten.
Yeah.
You know, they tell you to treat people the way you want to be treated, share your toys, be kind.
Yeah. People generally don't do that. So.
The just shall live by
faith. We don't live no other way.
So, that's our lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's I think that's what kept us.
Yeah.
What saved our marriage was faith. With it, you know, faith talks about when you see something different than what your current circumstances present. And there's been times where if you looked on the surface level of our relationship, it looked terrible. But we saw beyond that.
Yeah.
And that's faith. But it still takes faith, because you're going to have to take a journey in the natural to what you see or what you imagine or what you envision. And sometimes at the current time, that doesn't feel good.
Right.
It doesn't feel natural.
Right.
So there's been times when we've had to rebuild and we've literally done it by faith. No emotions to back it up. No cute, fuzzy feelings.
No, I like you.
I love you. So sweet. My goodness. It is literally, like we said earlier, showing up and saying, I'm making a choice to love you regardless of how I feel.
Yeah.
And what we find is your feelings catch up.
Your feelings will catch up.
Your emotions catch up with your actions.
Yes, definitely. Right? Most definitely.
So I'd say from a spiritual aspect, it's like that's super important.
Yeah, we couldn't be together.
Yeah, because it's just, I think, because it's such a fundamental part of who we are as people. I think to take that away would alter who we are and how we see things.
Yeah.
In regards to faith in each other, that's also very important because sometimes we're not always necessarily going to be right next to each other, and when we are separate, we need to have that level of faith and trust in each other to say, okay, I know due to how that person is that I don't have to worry about, or I can leave them to do certain things and not have to worry about anything.
Yeah.
I think that there's always this kind of connection to a higher power. It's not necessarily any particular faith base, but it's definitely that knowledge that someone is looking out for us.
What? For me, I this is interesting to me because I think we always have a kind of diverging, maybe not necessarily viewpoint, but certainly our histories with faith are very, very different. And so faith for me is always really loaded, because faith, growing up in an African household, meant Christianity. My relationship with Christianity is an exhaustingly contrived set of falsehoods, unfortunately. I've seen too many negative aspects and hypocrisy within faith, or certainly Christianity, which was the main indoctrination to faith that I had for me to place any real sense of value in it.
There are various religious beliefs.
Righty.
Like there's obviously the Christianity. Some of our cousins have been Rastafarians, which is a cult. Some have been Muslims. So there's an influence and an influx of though, I wouldn't say Rastafarian, but Islam and Christianity, which are two major religions. And Hinduism is a big religion as well, or a way of life. But more importantly, it's a way of life. Mm-hmm. All of these religious beliefs have way of life that's ingrained within their belief systems. So, you know, we have made a healthy compromise, right?
We have. Which works for us.
Well, funny enough, Rhea went to a Catholic school and we had no say in that. We just had, there's like, she's going to go to this Catholic school, and it happened to be one of the best Catholic schools.
It's about the education at the end of the day.
And the education was important. So she could have went to a school with monks. As long as the education was great, then that was it for me. But yeah, I just say it's a healthy compromise. I don't think it's because we grew up with the belief that there is a supreme deity. Mm-hmm. We're not going to all of a sudden become atheists.
Yeah.
Or we're not even going to embrace that either. But yeah.
That's us.
My relationship with Christianity is an exhaustingly contrived set of falsehoods, unfortunately. I've seen too many negative aspects and hypocrisy within faith, or certainly Christianity, which was the main indoctrination to faith that I had for me to place any real sense of value in it. And also, again, as an African, having had the sort of opportunity and privilege to spend time in Africa as a child, I saw the really kind of deleterious consequences of faith-based societies and the inability of nations to actually take responsibility and control. and also the individuals. So for me, in our relationship, I've never seen it as fundamental or invaluable. But as Ebony said, again, without wanting to sort of sound cliche again, we're definitely spiritual people, and my wife's journey with faith has been something that I've observed with a degree of admiration, but also kind of trepidation, because the kinds of things that I experienced forcibly as a young person, she was exploring and experiencing herself as an individual. So it allowed me to look at things from a different perspective. And that's when, to a great extent, we realised just how spiritual we are. So for me, I don't think it's fundamental. I don't think it influences our relationship. But I'm happy to observe and support my wife's journey in faith and realise that that's something that's added yet another interesting layer to her. Yeah.
Yeah, faith is a massive part. I always tell people there's just so many moments that God came in and saved my marriage. He was like, don't play with me. You know what I've called this to. You know what I've told you this is. And so, but then like he was saying, there's also an aspect where, because of our faith, we know that this is called to something greater and bigger than our emotions, how we feel, or what we even go through. And so, yeah, faith it's been a huge part of who we are and what we do.
How long should sex last?
It can't be longer than 5 minutes.
It still make me giggle.
It can't be longer than 5 minutes, you know what I mean?
At this point in a 30-year relationship, sex is as important as it was in day one.
Yeah. Maybe the intensity of sex is not quite as important, but it is important.
Well, intensity, for me, I'm not going to say intensity, maybe the intervals.
Yeah. It's still important.
I think the intensity is still important.
Yeah.
I think it should last, once we're both satisfied.
Right.
Then whatever happens after that, then once I'm satisfied. No, once we're both satisfied.
Okay. No, that's
what do you think?
No, I agree. I think that's a very good answer. I think probably a slightly different answer, but a lot of emphasis is placed on like benchmarks in relationships. So people come into a relationship with different ideas of how things should be, but I think that's a very good answer in the sense of it shouldn't be based on, don't feel like you need to live up to a certain thing, because then that puts more pressure and less enjoyment on the thing that you're doing.
Even if only one person, even let's say it like one person satisfied, then it's okay to let the other person know that I'm done now.
I mean, you can, and obviously you communicate and you come to an agreement, but yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
So it depends, and obviously some people get satisfied in different ways and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I agree with the overall answer of
how long it should last.
Yeah, I believe it's
so in times. Like minutes.
Well, it could be anything. Different sessions. It depends where you are. Depends what you're doing.
Depends on the position.
Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah.
How long should sexy time last? As long as it takes.
Yeah.
I think sex is one of the best ways that you can connect and stay connected.
Yeah. I think that I think there's a difference between the way men and women view sex. However, I still think it's important. I just think it maybe isn't all you base your relationship on.
No, it's not at all. No. But it is important.
It's still important.
Yeah.
It's still important.
It can't be no 1 minute demonstration.
It's not, I don't think you can put a time on it. I think you have to make your partner feel wanted. if that takes 5 minutes, if that takes 10 minutes, if that takes 30 minutes, you have to make sure you let your partner know you're present.
I'm like Bernie Mac. They call me juicy fruit.
I'm not thinking about
They call me juicy fruit. You know what I mean? I got flavor for days, so I ain't even worried about that. You know what I mean? So, yeah, you're right. I mean, I think it goes back to the thing about love, right? You have to always be able to talk to your partner to find out what it is that person wants and likes. Sometimes it could be like, I could rock it with some flowers and I'd be like, ah, boom, panties drop. You know, you know what I mean? Because I used to come in flowers all the time.
Yeah.
Now I don't need to do no flowers. You know what I'm saying? I just pop my collar. You know what I mean? But
right.
But yeah, I think it's
But we have to make sure that we don't become too comfortable in what we think that our partner is expecting. You have to keep it saucy, I think.
Yeah, I think I'm going right. Like I said, I'm burning Mac at the department, so I ain't, you know what I mean? I'm good. You know what I mean? 20 years in, I'm still, you know, Mac Daddy up in this piece.
You're not bad.
No.
Okay.
As long as it takes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think that it's when you have that kind of, you're enjoying them, you're enjoying pleasuring someone and they're enjoying pleasuring you, then you just keep going. We do have very long sessions, but they're not very frequent. So we'd have a very, very long session on the weekend. Might have another shorter session at some point, just a little seconds.
Top session. Yeah.
But
that's certainly the case now.
Yeah. Back in the day.
Yeah.
Back in the day, there was lots of long sessions, multiple times a week. But
wasn't that your sister calling us rabbits?
Well.
Yeah.
Well. How long is a piece of string?
Sexy time. As long as you are to the point of satisfaction. So it could be 45 minutes minimum.
Yeah, I don't know if you can put a time on sexy time. I don't know if you can, like, no, just be sexy, innit? Don't put no time limit on it.
I think that to a great extent, that's, for us, that's not even a kind of relevant question, because I don't want it to sound cliche. We don't have sex.
What do we have?
We make love. Because when I think of all my other relationships with you, I just feel like I'm communing with you on a cellular level, like your soul. It's not about your physicality. It's about the essence of you. Do you know what I mean? And knowing that your pleasure is my pleasure is, yeah. And that doesn't come from nobody else. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, frankly, it's why we're still together, because I know
and
there's
also having been together so long and really knowing each other's bodies, that kind of takes it to another level.
Mm.
No, but it can't be sexy time all the time, can it?
It can.
No, how?
Just like how you are right now.
My God. Yeah, I think, like, you have to make time for it, though. It's because, you know, there can be times where you can just settle with yourself and, yeah, don't make an effort and things like that. So you need to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, about 45 minutes.
It's a very exact, precise number.
As a man, I'll always put my hand on the Bible back there and say, as a man, sexy time could always be more frequent. It's just as a man.
As a man. That's true.
As a man. So there's
what time is it? It's sexy time.